Good morning, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get the quickly started so you can sign in. Whenever it feels like it wants to work. It needs to wake up, I guess. There you go. All right, so 8471. All right, so what we're going to look at is where we are and where we're going. So on Tuesday, we covered 3.4, and we were supposed to cover 3.4 and 3.5 today. Since I moved 3.4 up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach 3.5 and 3.7 today, and then we're going to go ahead and cover only 3.10 on this day. So next Tuesday. Next Thursday, I'm going to do the review for test 3 because I don't have a slotted position for test 3's review. I'm going to make that for Thursday. So that way, when we come back the following week, all right. Well, hold on, wait a second. It looks like, hold on, wait a second. That seems like a long time. Wait a second. So I might not have to do this. It looks like I have nothing for the 6th. So actually, the 6th is going to be test 3. I didn't just put it down for a date. So test 3 will be the 6th. Okay, so I do not have to do that. Disregard everything I just said. I'm sorry. You know what? I thought I didn't have a review date for you guys because I don't see a date associated with the test 3 review. But that is actually on 4/6, and then 4/8 will be the test. That makes a lot of sense to me. All right, good. I thought I would give you guys a review day. I'm surprised that I didn't write it in here because it's confusing to me. All right, so I'm just going to cover then 3.5 today. That's all I'm covering today. That's 3.5. I'm glad I looked at that. All right, so 3.5. Okay, now with 3.5, the way this one works, okay, is you're looking at the scenario, this situation, and you're trying to write an equation that models it. This comes down to reading again. All right, you got to be careful with the way you read things. So if you look at this, it says that Scott sold T-shirts and hats at a festival. His total profit was $106. So we know what we're going to be equaling is $106. Now, if we're thinking about T-shirts and hats, we're obviously thinking, well, I'm going to make some profit for the T-shirts, and I'm making some profit for the hats. I'm going to have to obviously add them together to give me a total profit. So adding is more likely the situation. But before we absolutely commit to that, we then continue to read and make sure that we are somewhat committed to that, so we can confirm our commitment. So he made $4 profit for each T-shirt. For each T-shirt, he made $4. And then he also made a profit of $34 for selling the hats. Well, now, that is absolutely then going to be where we add them together. So it's going to be $4 per T-shirt, or I should, yeah, for per T-shirt, and then $34 for the hat. And then we're looking at 106, all right, $106 profit. Now we're going to go ahead and solve the equation in part A, all right? And the way to basically do that is to take any calculator that you want to use. All right, here I have my calculator. And I'm just going to go ahead and compute it. I mean, I'm not even going to write anything down. All I'm going to do is take 106, subtract from that the $34, hit enter, and then the divide key, 4. And I get 18. So you can see that you do not need to write anything down. So as long as you can follow with the way that it's set it up, I mean, you're subtracting 34 because you're adding 34. So the opposite of subtraction is, or addition is subtraction. So that's, and then the opposite of multiplication is division. So that's why I did what I did to get to 18. Now Teresa needs to memorize words on a vocabulary list for French class. She has memorized 30 words, 30 of the words, which is 2/3 of the list. How many of the words are on the list? So how many words on the list comes down to identifying the equation. Now, she's already memorized 30 words, right? This is 2/3 of some list of words. That's the equation we need. Now, in order to solve this, all we do is go ahead and multiply both sides by 3. That'll eliminate the fractional part. And then we have now 2x equals 90. And then divide both sides by 2. So you get 45. Now, again, making sure I didn't goof anything up as far as the values are concerned and all. It says that she memorized 30 words. This is 2/3 of the list. All right, so making sure I got that correct. Now, the setup is always going to be the same. Now, when you get good at this and you start realizing the setup, it's always the big number times the denominator equals divide by the numerator. So you can get into the routine of this. You can get this pretty quickly. All right, without having to actually write anything down. So the number of words is 45. So now we get into another question that deals with reading and understanding what we're reading. Amy bought some books for $4 each and received a discount, $5 off for each, or for her total purchase. All right. She spends $71 after the discount. How many books did she buy? Well, discount means subtraction. So we're going to subtract the $5. And then it's $4 for each book. And then the total price that she's paying is $71. So now the number of books that she bought is simply take 71 and then add 5 and then divide it by 4. And we get 19. So again, we would just go ahead and punch it into our calculator. So now this one, the yearbook club had a meeting. The meeting had 20 people, which is 4/5 of the club. How many people are in the club? Now, if you remember with what I said before, it's set up like this. The denominator being 5, we would just go ahead and do 20 times 5 divided by 4 and get 25. So it's really a system, but if you don't trust with what I just said, it's 4/5 of some number equals 20. You would multiply it by 5 and divide by 4. Now, if you're one who likes to write everything down, by all means, have at it. However, if you like to just go about knowing the process, whenever you have a fraction, like 4/5, for example, then all you got to do is multiply by the denominator and then divide by the numerator. Again, this is being recorded, so if you need to review that, then by all means. So, because it's rather easy when you know this shortcuts. So we're getting into situations again like this. So Henry currently has $42 in savings. He had been saving $7 each week. Yesterday he spent $77. So when he's spending $77, that's subtraction. So $7 each week, where he spent $77, and he has currently $42 in his account. So with that being said, we take 42, add 77, divided by 7. And so it is 17 weeks. If anything I'm doing is too much for you, just please help me by slamming on the brakes and just tell me what you need help with understanding. Now, there's a lot of white space over here, so what I'm going to do is reduce that space by bringing in this on one side of the screen, because I think it's important that I go ahead and walk you through this one. Now, again, I'm giving you some serious strategies for this. The area of a rectangle, as you know, at least you should, is length times width. And we could call this length and this width. It doesn't matter which one we call which. All right? It's length and width. So area is bounded by length times width. So if they say that the area is 6,460 square meters, we would have then to understand that this was some length times width to equal that. So they gave us the width, so then that means we have the 68 times L equals 6,460. Now, the way to work this out is simple. And I don't write anything down here. I just take, when I see area, and I see the total area, and I see one of the values, I'm just taking the big number, 6,460, and dividing it by the smaller number. And I get my answer. Now, the perimeter. Perimeter is bounded by adding all the sides of a rectangle together. If we have two L's, we're also going to have two W's, right? And we have to add all these together. So the perimeter, I should put it here. So the perimeter is bounded by 2 times the L added to 2 times the W. Because the W's are going to be the same, and the lengths are going to be the same. So you're adding all the sides together by a formula. Well, if that's the case, they gave us the perimeter of 288. Well, they also gave us the length of 89. So we could do 2 times 89 plus 2 times some unknown value of W equals 288, the perimeter. So the way to do this real quick on a calculator is to take the big number, subtract the smaller number times 2, hit enter, and then divide that by 2. And there's our answer. So L, or W in this case, is equal to 255. So we put that in here, 55, and we check our answer. So again, the strategies that I'm giving you are rock solid. So big number, subtract the smaller number doubled, and then divide it by 2. So without writing a single thing down, without writing anything down, I'm going to answer these questions pretty quick. So as I told you before, and again, this is being recorded, big number minus the smaller number times 2. And you can actually put in 74 times 2. You don't have to put 2 times 74 if you don't wish, but because if you follow my pattern, I say big number minus the smaller one times 2, hit enter, and then divide by 2 and get 56. For the area, take big number and divide it by smaller number. And there's my answer. All right, so I explained it to you in greater detail. And by the way, this is going to be reinforced in 2106 / now going to be 1106. All right, and then you have the process for completing it pretty quick. Now this is rather easy right here. All you have to do is list all of what you see in order. It doesn't have to be in any particular order. It could be whatever you start with. I'm going to start with 4x, hit tab, 3x, tab, 7, tab, 19, x, tab, and 18. Now I'm going to come down here and write in everything. So 7 plus 19 is 27. Excuse me, I take that back, 26. X. And then I add 7, because the reason why I did 7 plus 19 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So 7 plus 19 is 26. Now, 7 added to 18 gives me 25. So that's pretty straightforward. You can use a calculator if you can't add in your mind or whatever. Not really too difficult. So again, we'll do that once more. 17x, tab 15, tab 5, x, tab 8x. Perimeter, adding 8 to 20, to 17 gives us 25. 25 plus 5 is 30, x, and then we have plus 15. Now, Melissa is on her way home in her car. She has driven 36 miles so far, which is 3/4 of the way home. So this is the fractional thing again. So if you have to write it down, this is 3/4 of some unknown number of miles equals 36. So if you need to write it down, that's the way you write it down. But I would not personally write it down because I know that I take 36 times the denominator of 4 and then divide it by the top, which is 3. And then there's my answer. I'm trying to make this really as simple as possible for you. All right. But if you want to yield some other strategy to do that, then by all means, have at it. This is the easiest approach that I can make it for you. I'm teaching you processing. After doing 3 of these, you should see the pattern. See, numbers are all about figuring out patterns in math. A lot of times, that's where deductive, inductive reasoning comes from in science, is noticing and recognizing patterns. Like this one. So Klaus sold a a t-shirt and hats festival. This one's just like the other one. He made $6 profit for each t-shirt, so we're looking at 6. And then we're looking at $54. He made a profit for selling the hats. I mean, this is very modeled to the same concept of what we had before. So all we're going to do is take our calculators and do 168 minus 54, hit enter, divided by 6. So 19 it is. See, this is not very complicated. All right, and again, I'm doing this pretty quick. So it's 5184 divided by 81, 64. And then big number, subtract smaller number times 2, hit enter, divided by 2. 83. So I'm not even looking at the calculator. I just follow my procedures. All right, and that was the last question for this particular assignment, which is reflective of what you're going to receive when you're doing your work for your independent work. Are there any questions? All right, well then I'm going to stop this recording.